Shedeur Sanders just exposed the NFL like it's To Catch a Predator, Draft Day edition, because they've been running the same playbook for decades to try and humble and control young black athletes who don't play their game. And the crazy thing is, people are saying Shedeur would have gone earlier in the draft if he had an agent. His brother Shiloh had his dad as an agent, but he saw what was happening to his brother and decided to sign with an agent during the draft.
Dad was our agent, but that hasn't been working out too good. So today I had to sign with an agent, bro. So we gonna see what happens.
NFL insiders are saying, and Bleacher Report dropped an article titled NFL Insiders Reportedly Feel Shedeur Sanders Needed an Agent to Prevent Draft Slide. Basically, they're blaming Shedeur, not the system. When first of all, an agent takes 3% of a player's playing contract and 10 to 20% of endorsement deals. So if a player signs a $10 million NFL contract, the agent gets $300,000. If a player lands a $1 million Nike deal, the agent could earn $100,000 to $200,000, and he's not even dribbling a basketball, which is why agents typically go for A-list athletes so they can get endorsement deal money. But what else does an agent do? And do the Sanders need an agent? Those are great questions. An agent does the contract negotiation, and most rookie athletes who are probably in their 20s spend their life training to play a sport, but they don't know the system and they haven't studied the business side of the sport, so they don't really know their slave market value. I mean, look at that nigger. Look how tall that monkey is. Boy is. Look how high that nigga jumps.
Oh, pretty good, right? Yeah, it had to be 40.
Wow, that nigga got so high. And look at that one. Look how fast the nigga runs.
That's what he told me.
There he goes.
He's moving.
Run, nigga, run.
Run.
Scott Scorsi down here in Baltimore Ravens. Yeah, it's about a quarter till. You know, we'd love to have you here, buddy.
Oh, size and weight, size and weight.
Honestly, this skit was so accurate, it's kind of sad. Not even funny.
What'd they clock you in for the 40? Woo-wee! Gotta run a whole police station, can't you?
Yeah, that's a good nigger. Let's buy him. Draft him. Yeah, that's probably how they talk about the athletes, especially if they play in their system, by getting an agent so the general manager of the team's not so talented agent friend can take 3% from the athlete just for playing golf on Sunday with the GM and telling him to pay the nigger, the athlete, close to what he's worth. This is the system, y'all, and Sanders doesn't need that. Their dad's plugged in. He knows the game, and he has connections. For God's sake, he's Deion Sanders. But here's what else an agent does: marketing, endorsements, legal, financial advice, career planning, public relations, and crisis management. I'd argue that Shedeur needs none of this, and if he did, Deion probably knows the guy the NFL uses, because Deion's either used them before or knows who the NFL uses. He doesn't need a middleman taking money from his kids just for having the same contacts Deion has. And just like artists in the hip-hop industry going independent, these agents can't have that. This new wave of athletes, they're different. They're not starving. They got NIL money, media training, YouTube channels, and merch before they even touch the league. Shedeur's brand is already loud as hell. That's threatening to a league that thrives on structure and silence. And who's behind all this? Deion Sanders? Primetime's been preparing his sons to move like CEOs since Pop Warner. And when you show young black athletes that they don't need to beg for respect or settle for crumbs, the gatekeepers start to panic. NFL insiders want to say he should have done this or signed with that guy. But what they really mean is he didn't follow the script. Now with millions of followers and a documentary crew behind him, every move is a headline and the league can't control it. So they try to paint him as arrogant. They push these humbling narratives, but the culture sees through it, because this ain't just about draft placement, it's a generational shift from this unfair system, and having an agent is the least of Shedeur's worries, especially since he's got Deion Sanders. You see, Oftentimes, when team owners see that a rookie athlete isn't represented by an agent, they think,
You know his mom's still his fucking agent. Hey, buddy.
because your mom, your dad, your uncle don't know how the business works. They don't know how much an athlete of your caliber at this present time should expect to be paid. But Dion does. And I don't think the owners like that. So they colluded. They said they weren't working together, but behind the scenes, they were probably saying shit like,
Let your mom know to stay in her place. We'll take it from here, buddy. Ciao. Thanks, man. Good doing business with you.
because you really think teams passed on a starting quarterback that had 4,134 passing yards, had 37 touchdowns, rushed for 4 just cause he didn't want to pay a middleman 3%?
What?
Honestly, I think that's one of the reasons, yes. But what's really going on is Shedeur ain't playing the old school NFL politics. He knows his worth, and that's why he waited. That's why he stayed at Colorado another year.
Smart move.
This ain't about agents, this is about control, about humbling a young black man who didn't kiss the ring. And yeah, it's got diamonds in it. You think they would have said this about a white QB with the same stats and media draw? Doubt it, because I've seen way worse. Ladies and gentlemen, are you familiar with Baker Mayfield? See, the media's been trying to label Shedeur as cocky and arrogant, but where was all this energy when Baker Mayfield was out here wilding like a frat boy on spring break? Here's some of his highlight clips, and if I have to distort it, it's for copyright reasons. Roll the clip.
Talking on both sides. A lewd gesture here to the crowd.
Kansas sideline.
Right there. Now that's inappropriate. That's inappropriate, uncalled for. And that right there, NFL GMs are going to see that and they're going to mark.
And what was his punishment? A 1-game suspension?
You're kidding, right?
That's it? Imagine if Shedeur did that. Imagine. On TV, they would have called him a thug, talked about how cocky and ghetto Dion was, which is why Shedeur acts this way. But they didn't consider Baker ghetto, arrogant, or cocky. No, Baker was just a little misguided. And to that I say, sounds about white. Huh? They said no, Baker is just confident, and he was real confident that his drunk ass was gonna get away when he tried to run away from the police.
What?
That's right. In college, Baker got arrested for public intoxication, and he tried to outrun the cops, and it failed miserably.
Oh my God! Fucking done. I'm done! Are you kidding me? I'm done! I didn't put your hands behind your back.
Now on a normal day, a future NFL quarterback should be able to outrun a few street cops, but Baker was clearly drunk as hell, and according to the cops,
I didn't do anything. No, you're just a dumbass who tried to run. Oh, stupid. Alright, man. I'm gonna roll you up on your butt, okay?
just a dumbass who tried to run. Baker also planted the Oklahoma flag in Ohio State's end zone like he just conquered Rome. Yeah, that's so disrespectful. And when it came time to draft Baker, I bet you can't guess what number he got picked. Yeah, that's right. He went number 1 overall in the 2018 NFL draft. Meanwhile, Shedeur ain't done none of that. The man just got a chain and a flashy watch, and people are acting like he's a thug. Now, he's flashy as fuck, don't get me wrong, but he's a good kid. And I honestly think the media at NFL wanted to humble him. Not because he was wildin', but because he's winning on his own terms. And when you look like this, winning looks okay. It's okay to be confident. But when you look like this, humble yourself, nigger. Yeah, double standards. And I'm in New York, so don't get me started with the Giants talking about he didn't interview well. Well, maybe y'all should stop picking the people who interview well and start picking the players who actually play football well. Cause my bad, y'all. I'm sorry. I didn't know Shedeur was interviewing for a front office position. Matter of fact, last time I checked, he was being drafted to be a quarterback. So you don't have to like how he interviews. Your job as a GM is to win fucking football games. And if he can help you do that, Who gives a shit how he interviews? I swear, the NFL was just making up shit that they thought we would believe, because it makes you wonder, was it just about the interviews or was it for ratings? Because according to the Front Office Sports, this draft was the second best viewed draft in league history, only followed behind the 2020 draft, which was obviously altered due to the pandemic and everybody being home. But people tuned in heavy, and guess who the internet was talking about? Shedeur fucking Sanders. People wanted to see where Prime Jr. would land, and once he got picked, the NFL knew viewership would drop off a cliff. Because let's be honest, unless you're a serious football fan, most people probably don't even watch the draft, let alone stick around after the first round. So the NFL milked that hype, but still try to act like he was just another pick. And on the NFL's Instagram, Shedeur Sanders was the first pinned post. That's right, the number 144th pick was pinned on the NFL's Instagram. But I assume after a bunch of creators were calling him out, they unpinned the post. The truth is, the NFL wanted the spotlight without giving Shedeur the crown. And because of this, Shedeur lost millions, you see. Most people don't realize it, but Shedeur lost a lot of money because of the draft. Some are saying he lost close to $40 million in NFL salary. The NFL salaries for the first 4 years are predetermined based on when a player is drafted. So the number 1 pick in this year's draft, quarterback Cam Ward, will earn $48.8 million over 4 years. All guaranteed, with a $32.1 million sign-on bonus. With a salary of $8.9 million in his first season, Sanders will make $4.6 million over his first 4 years and receive a $446,000 sign-on bonus and $952,000 in his first season. To compare it, Shedeur earned about $6.5 million during his last season in college from the NIL deal, the highest in the nation. So Shedeur made more last year in college than he'll make in the next 4 years in the NFL, which is crazy. He obviously has sponsors, so he'll be fine, but losing $40 million is crazy. And when you look at the numbers like that, you start to realize why a small amount of athletes, especially on the WNBA side, usually the big name ones, stay in college longer. Because with these NIL deals, a small amount of them will make more money in college than they will during their first rookie contract. Look at Flaw J, who played with Angel Reese. Her NIL deal was valued at $1.5 million, but a rookie contract in the WNBA on average is around $119,000, which is why she stayed in college. And speaking of college, let's briefly talk about Shedeur's college play. That's right, here's where the hate gets lazy. Before Prime and Shedeur got to Colorado, the team was trash. I'm talking a 1-11 record in 2022. Then they pulled up in 2023, and what happened? 3 straight wins out of the gate. National attention, sellout games, celebrities on the sidelines, and the receivers. Don't get it twisted, Travis Hunter, Xavier Weaver, and Jimmy Horn Jr. all balled out. But who was passing them the ball? Shedeur Sanders. Listen, a wide receiver can only shine if his quarterback puts the ball in the right spot, and Shedeur was throwing dots all season. So when 3 of his receivers got draft buzz and signed, that was a direct reflection on who was throwing the ball. And let's be honest, Shedeur balled out in college. And speaking of college, let's talk about some college kids and their dad who played a prank on Shedeur because they must think we stupid.
Mickey Loomis here, GM of the Saints.
How you doing?
Good, how are you, man?
Good, been waiting on you.
Yeah, we have. It's been a long wait, man.
No, for sure.
We're gonna take you with our next pick right here, man.
Yeah. Yes, sir, let's be legendary.
But you're gonna have to wait a little bit longer, man.
The caller abruptly hanging up.
What does that mean? You heard that?
You said you're gonna have to wait a little bit longer.
Nobody got that number but coaches, strictly for that reason.
But it wasn't a coach or anyone from an NFL team.
This is Mickey Loomis here, GM of the Saints.
Instead, it was these young men seen in this video circulating on social media, impersonating New Orleans Saints general manager Mickey Loomis.
We're gonna take you with our next pick right here, man.
Yeah. Yes, sir, let's be legendary.
But you're gonna have to wait a little bit longer, man.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
The world may have bought it, but I definitely didn't. Let's use our common sense here. I don't think the Sun just randomly got that number. In fact, I believe the dad gave it to him. That kid's name is Jack Ulbrich. For some reason, the media doesn't want to tell you his name, but in this video, it looks like he's in his college dorm. So which story makes more sense? Did Jack go home, see dad's iPad laying out, decide to randomly go through it, and saw the number on his dad's iPad that his dad left out, even though the dad wasn't planning to call Shedeur? Then Jack came back to his college dorm and then played a prank on Shedeur. Or does this make more sense? While dad was on the phone with his son, they were talking about Shedeur having a private number, and the dad gave it to him. Because if I had to guess, I'd say his pops did it. And I'm not the only one that thinks that.
I saw Shedeur Sanders' phone number on my father's iPad, and I wrote it down and did the prank call. So you mean to tell me you didn't get permission from your father to take Shedeur's number? You mean to tell me your father didn't know you took Shedeur's number? Shedeur said, Art, that was a new phone. Shedeur said, I just got the phone. He only had the phone for 1 or 2 days, maybe 3. How in the hell did you get the new number in 3 days? Your father gave it to you. Your father gave it to you. But your father don't want to get in trouble because he works for the NFL. And you don't work for the NFL, so it only makes sense to blame you. And now to cover the story up, Art, now they're saying other players were prank called. Now they're saying white players. You know why they saying that, Art? Because they don't want this to look like what it is. They saying that, Art, because they don't want this to look like the racist attack that it is on the Sanders family. That's what this was about. Ain't nobody else get no prank call. This was for Shedeur. But y'all have to make it look like it was draft wide so it doesn't look like racial discrimination. I hope they sue, Art. And then on top of that, damage control. Damage control. Now they got executives from the different NFL teams, Art. Now they got executives, Art, from the different NFL teams saying, well, reports are coming out. Reports are coming out that Shedeur Sanders didn't do well during his interview. They said he kind of finessed the interview. They said that if he wasn't interested in the team, he didn't even act like he wanted to answer their questions. I don't believe that at all, Art.
Yeah, not for 1 second did I believe that. And Jeff apologized.
What was your reaction and how did you process it?
Yeah, obviously not happy and shocked. And so I made the Falcons aware of the situation, and then our next course of action was to try to get a hold of the Sanders family so we could apologize in person, which we were able to do. And the Sanders family, Shedeur and Coach Sanders, were amazingly gracious, more gracious than they needed to be in a moment like this.
That was a phone call?
Yes, and it was an opportunity for myself and for my son to apologize.
But due to this, Atlanta Falcons got fined $250,000 and Jeff Ulbrich got fined $100,000. I personally think they should have took that $350,000 and gave it to the Sanders because they were the ones embarrassed in this incident, not the NFL. Check this out.
I go to different schools like once a week and just give the schools pizza. Like I just pay for it every week. Like the whole middle school or whole high school or stuff like that, and just like pull up on them and just see them in person, because I feel like oftentimes everybody do charity work, everybody do this and that, but it's like if I was a kid, what would mean the most to me? So that's what I try to do, is do stuff that actually I would care about if I was a kid. I go about anything in life as if I'm the one on the other side receiving it, even if it's like gift giving or people come to my city, make sure everything good. Like I want somebody, to do the same for me. That's just how I am overall as a person. I'm trying to bring Cleveland, of course, a Super Bowl.
This is going to be the most valuable pick the Browns ever got. A 5th round, 144 pick, #1 in jersey sales. Shedeur Sanders is not playing around about that QB1 spot in Cleveland, as he's out there in the Cleveland streets, really going to the communities, going to schools. Obviously, he's putting in extra work in, and it really seems like he's, everybody wants him to be humble, but he's putting in the work that he usually puts in. So we're going to talk about him visiting a local Cleveland high school, obviously putting in some throws after pre-mini camp. And then we're going to have some videos that are kind of behind the scenes that we haven't seen from even well-off media, from overtime, and as well as him speaking about what he does this all the time, man. He's always giving back to the schools.
A part of me almost wishes Shedeur made this speech.
I want to thank the Cleveland Browns and the GM Andrew Berry for drafting me and giving me an opportunity to fulfill my dreams of playing in the NFL. But I'm going to have to decline this draft pick because they drafted Dylan Gabriel before me, and I will not be embarrassed like that. I'm not some third or fourth string quarterback you can just bring in to be made fun of. Not to mention Cleveland is a boring-ass city, as everyone knows. Even their own LeBron Diddy James left that city to go to Los Angeles. So, yeah, I declined my selection because I want to be drafted by another team that plays in a good city like Los Angeles, Miami, or New York. I thrive under the bright lights, and everyone knows the street lights don't even work in Cleveland. So thank you to Cleveland for drafting me, but better luck next time. Primetime Shedeur ain't made for that city.
Now for you old folks, that's clearly artificial intelligence. But a part of me wishes there was a way for him to decline that draft pick to fuck the NFL over, and for him to just go back to college and play for his dad for one more year. But unfortunately, once you declare for the draft, that's pretty much it. So for some college players, declaring for the draft may turn out bad, but not as bad as some of these celebrities in this video who all have something in common: making bad decisions. So if you haven't seen it, check it out. I'm out.